Well, hello there, John from Big Dreams Travel, and I am here at the Royal Promenade on Royal Caribbean's Adventure of the Seas. But on this video, we're going to give you some tips 10 tips for you if you're a first time cruiser on Royal Caribbean. So stay tuned for 10 of those tips that are going to make your first cruise experience an awesome one. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell. For this tip, we are up at the Adventure Ocean Club, and this is the kids club on board Royal Caribbean ships. And I encourage you, if you have kids between the ages of 3 and 12, to let them get a taste of the kids club. My kids absolutely have loved it on this ship that I'm on. There have been cruises in the past that they maybe didn't love it, but we've always had them try it at least once, and just to see if they like it. And so I encourage you. It may not be something your kids want to do the whole time, but it is worth giving it a try on every cruise to see how they like the staff and the new friends they might meet in the kids club. So for our next tip, I am here in the Next Cruise office. One of the great things you can do on Royal Caribbean is book your next cruise while you're on board. And the biggest benefit to this is that you are going to get a reduced deposit amount. Instead of the normal $250 per person deposit, the deposit currently at the time I'm filming this is going to be $100 per person if you're picking a specific sail date. Or you can also book what we would call a placeholder cruise for $200 per stateroom, and you can then pick a sailing within 2 months. So that's another tip here, is to book your next cruise on board for that reduced deposit. And they also will have a promotion going where you get a discount on that cruise or an onboard credit on that cruise when you take it in the future. You just have to book that while you're here on board, and you would need to pick a sail date within 2 months to get that additional discount. The best news is that discount is combinable with any other discount Royal Caribbean is offering, and you get to keep using your travel agent that you booked your current cruise with. So stop by the Next Cruise desk and book that future Royal Caribbean cruise. So our next tip we're going to talk about is that at times on your cruise vacation, things are going to go wrong. Just relax. It will take a turn for the better. There are going to be long lines. There's going to be crowds, especially on embarkation day. It's going to seem crowded. Don't worry about it. Go do a different activity. There's a bunch of stuff to do. And come back and do the one that maybe was crowded later. One of the things that can be disappointing, I'm going to turn my camera around here and show you what I just found here on deck 4. I came to my favorite spot outside on deck 4 to sit and found the sign closed due to weather. Again, stuff like this is going to happen, but don't worry. You're on a cruise vacation. Enjoy yourself as best you can, and things will work out. Well, I'm here in the Schooner Bar, and you can see the casino behind me, and both of these are locations where you actually will have the chance to spend money on board. And that's our next tip, is have a budget set for what you are going to spend on board. There are going to be a lot of opportunities to spend money on board the ship, in the casino, on drinks, on shopping, on photos, on shore excursions, so many things. And that is our tip. Have a budget on the things you want to spend money on and stick to that budget. That's especially important if you're playing in the casino back there. So have a budget and stick to it. Well, for our next tip, I'm up here above the pool deck, and our tip has to do with the pool. And when you are on board a Royal Caribbean ship, it is so important to use the pool during off hours. Use it early or late or on port days. Those are going to be your 3 times that the pool will be manageable, that you'll probably be able to for sure find a deck chair, and that you won't feel like you're in the middle of a cattle call. The pool deck can certainly get crowded during the middle of the day and on sea days, so use it. It's open at 7 a.m. right now. Not hardly anybody here on the pool deck right now. It's the same kind of while dinner is going on. There's a few more people, but it's so easy to swim during dinner time. And then on port days, there's some people that stay on the ship, but it's certainly if you want to be out during the hot part of the day and enjoy the pool and laying in the sun, that port days are a great time to do it as well. So that's our tip. Use the pool early, late, or on port days. So our next tip for first-time cruisers comes to you here from the Windjammer Marketplace, which is the buffet on Royal Caribbean ships. We want to certainly remember when it comes to the Windjammer that it can get crowded, very, very crowded in here. So come at off times. That means breakfast before about 8:30 a.m. You should get it with lower crowds and you should be okay. Of course, the earlier the better. Or if you do a really late breakfast, you'll be okay as well. For lunch, it really seems like the peak hours most of the time on a sea day especially is going to be between 12:30 and 2. People tend to eat a little later lunch on cruises as they sleep in later. So really anytime before 12 or around 12 you're probably okay. So just be aware visiting the Windjammer at off times is super important to having a great cruise so you don't have to battle all the crazy crowds that can come from here in the Windjammer. So for our next tip, I'm walking the halls here of Deck 8 because our next tip is on your first cruise, we think it is always beneficial to find a room that is midway between the guest areas on Deck 5, which is the Royal Promenade on this Voyager class ship, or the Lido deck and the Windjammer on Deck 11. So that's why I'm on Deck 8. Because if you were in this situation, you could pretty easily take the stairs down 3 decks or up 3 decks and not have to worry about the elevators, which we think is a big bonus. Of course, for health reasons, you may need to use the elevators, and that's certainly understandable. There are some rooms on those floors that have the main guest areas, if that is a concern for you. But that's this tip, is to think about putting or choosing a room that is on one of the middle decks of the ship. That may change based on what class of ship you're on, so consult the deck maps. But on these Voyager class ships, we find that Deck 8 is a great location. So I'm here in front of the main dining room for our next tip to have a great Royal Caribbean vacation. And that tip is when coming to the dining room, look at that menu ahead of time. You can do that in the Royal Caribbean app, or they have some television monitors here outside the dining room that show it, but the app is certainly the easiest way. And if you know ahead of time, or at least have a good idea of what you want, that's going to make the ordering process a whole lot smoother. Not a complete necessity, but I've found when I've traveled with first-time cruisers of my own, this helps them on that first cruise. And also remember, if you want something at the main dining room, in most cases you can order it and try it. There's no limit. If you see 2 appetizers you like, order both appetizers, or same for the entrees and dessert. But that's the tip. Look at those dining room menus before you arrive, so you've got in your mind a little bit about what you might want. So for our next tip to have a great Royal Caribbean cruise, one of the things that I think is really important is for you to find some quiet places on the ship, because there are times you're just going to want to escape to a quiet spot, to relax, to read a book, to enjoy the relaxation that come from a cruise. And there are so many places on the ship that don't get as crowded and are a great spot to relax. I'm going to flip the camera around and show you one of my favorite places on this Voyager class vessel of Royal Caribbean I'm on. And that is the outer deck seating area and this walkway down on Deck 4. You can see spectacular ocean views. This deck goes almost all the way around the ship. It's got both loungers and regular chairs along through here. It's just a fantastic place to sit, to relax, and get away from it all. So and there are other places like this around the ship as well. So find some great locations like this to enjoy during your cruise. So I'm here in front of the Lyric Theater for our next tip to have a great cruise. And that tip is to take time to get to know the staff on board the ship, whether that's the entertainment staff, the dining room staff, your room steward, the bar waiters that you're going to be interacting with, or anyone on the ship. That is truly one of the biggest joys of being on a cruise, is getting to know the staff, making friendships, seeing where they're from, talking to them about their experience on the ship. It is truly one of the most memorable things you can do. So I encourage you to spend some time getting to know the staff. I have so many great stories of cruises we've taken over the years and the awesome staff that have made those cruises magical and such great experiences. So get to know the staff. You won't regret it. Well, thanks for joining us on this video. Royal Caribbean is a great cruise line, and we know that you will have a fantastic time experiencing all that their awesome ships have to offer. If you would like to book a cruise like this, contact us at Big Dreams Travel, www.bigdreamstravelusa.com. We're happy to help. We will take care of all the details. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Click the notification bell down below. Thanks so much for watching, and have fun planning and dreaming of those future vacations.